What's good, everybody? All right, the draft is finally here. I hope you're stoked. I'm stoked. I'm excited to see what goes down day one, really, and all throughout the entire draft. But day one is upon us, and the biggest talk is quarterback. What are we going to do at 13? Are we trading up? Are we sticking at 13? Are we going to get someone in the second round? I want to come on here after doing a bunch of my homework. I want to come on here and finally give you my take on the quarterback position, not only the existing quarterbacks on the roster, but the quarterbacks that are available in the draft. And so get ready for this one. I'm going to break this one down and get ready for that comment section because I know everybody kind of set in their mind on who they want. And so let's get after it. But before I do, if you hit that, can you please hit that like button, subscribe, turn those notifications when I hit 3,000 subscribers. I will be doing my next giveaway. In addition to that, if you're in the Vegas area, come hit me up as well as two other content creators, Severe Raider, Pharaoh NFL. We're doing a live broadcast and we're covering the draft in person at the Ahern Hotel just off the strip on the north end. Free entry, free parking, free giveaways, 50-50 raffles, drink and food specials, the whole nine. So if you're in the Vegas area, come hit us up. Doors open at 3 for day one and day two of the draft. First 25 people to show up, you get 5 automatic raffle tickets to the giveaways. It's going to be a fun time. Day one is filling up fast. We're almost full, but day two, we're starting to see the numbers creep up. So there's an Eventbrite link in the detail or the description down below. Hit that up. Make sure you RSVP so you can get in because it's starting to fill up fast. So, all right, guys, let's get into it. Let's talk about quarterbacks. All right. Now, before I jump into this, I just want to let you guys know. Not only did I do a ton of research on the quarterbacks I'm going to talk about when it comes to the draft, I reviewed 7 games from last year on each of these quarterbacks I'm going to talk about. But not only that, I've coached this game for 23 years. I played it for 15. I'm not saying I'm the end all be all. I'm not saying I know everything, but I know enough to come on and talk about it. I've evaluated players for 23 years. I've scouted film, not just as a coach, but I scouted film as a player. And so I bring to the table at least a little bit of knowledge. But if you disagree, I'm with you. Hit me up in that comment section. Let me know. Give me some details. Did I miss a stat? Did I miss a mechanic that might either allow them to be a great quarterback in the NFL or not? Let me know in the comment section down below. But I at least come with a little bit of knowledge, and I'm ready to comment with you in that comment section like I always do. So let's talk about the existing quarterbacks, right? We got Aiden O'Connell. My opinion on Aiden O'Connell, I am gonna let Aiden O'Connell. I'm looking at Aiden O'Connell as a rookie going into this season. Let's put it that way. All right. My verdict is not out on Aiden O'Connell just yet. Yes, I have some knocks on him. All right. He's not very mobile, which isn't good. I do think you need to have some mobility and better pocket presence in the NFL. But look, last year, he was not prepared to start an NFL football game. Josh McDaniels did a horrible job of preparing him for the moment. In my opinion, it's like giving a regular licensed driver keys to a NASCAR and say, go win a race. Yeah, you know how to drive, but you don't know how to do it at that level. And that's Aiden O'Connell right now. He's a 4th-round rookie. At the end of the day, let him sit. Let him learn. We'll see what he's really about maybe halfway through next season or going into the following season. But my verdict isn't out on Aiden O'Connell yet. He was thrown into a horrible situation, wasn't prepared, and he had a interim offensive coordinator basically teaching him the ropes in the NFL, which should have never been the situation. And so I'm going to let that play out. When it comes to Gardner Minshew, I think Gardner Minshew was a really good pickup if the draft doesn't play out the way we want it. Okay? Because we now have a top 10 defense. Last year, if you would have told me, or if you would have asked me, could we have made the playoffs last year if we had a veteran quarterback under center? I would have said, you know what? Probably we would have made the playoffs. And so Gardner Minshew gives us that veteran quarterback. He gives us that balance to the top 10 defense that we have. So if we go into next season with Gardner Minshew, is that my ideal spot based on the quarterbacks that are in this draft? It's not ideal, but I still think he gives us a really good chance to win because he has proved it wherever he has played, whether it be Philly, whether it's the Colts last year back in Jacksonville. I think that Gardner Minshew gives you the opportunity to compete every single game that he plays. So, again, not my first choice, but if the draft doesn't play out the way we want it to, I'm not going to be completely disappointed. I'm not saying this season is a complete throwaway if Gardner Minshew is our starting quarterback. Now, let's get into the quarterbacks within the draft. All right. Number one, this is what I look for in a quarterback when they come out of college, because I'm a firm believer that the quarterback's success is not only based on their talents and their mechanics, but it's based on who's the head coach, who's that offense coordinator, what's the organization makeup. Is it solid enough to give that quarterback a chance at being successful? That's my biggest thing. It's not just how talented that quarterback is. All right, one example: C.J. Stroud. If C.J. Stroud was drafted by the Houston Texans. Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator over there, is part of that Shanahan tree. I think the structure and the talent surrounding C.J. Stroud allowed him to find success. Not only that, they had a ton of weapons, which was great. They did a great job of surrounding him with weapons, and they had a good offensive structure and a good offensive mind over there with Bobby Slowick to give C.J. Stroud the best chance of success. Now, let me ask you another question. Is C.J. Stroud was drafted by us last year with Josh McDaniels? Do you think C.J. Stroud would have had the same season? I can almost guarantee you not, because Josh McDaniels was a horrible offensive coordinator. He was a horrible coach. And so he would have ruined C.J. Stroud's rookie year by drafting him. That's my opinion. And so not only do you need the mechanics, you need the makeup of being a good quarterback, some of the intangibles that you need. You also need the structure within the system to find success and give you a chance at success. Another good example, and I'll be very brief. I think Caleb Williams might be a bust in the NFL, not because he's not a good quarterback, not because he has the weapons and the intangibles to be a good quarterback. It's because he's most likely being drafted by the Bears. Why do we think all of a sudden the Bears are going to be turned around and be this amazing organization just by drafting a quarterback? No, there's a reason why. There's a reason why organizations are bad, because they make bad head coaching moves. They bring in a horrible coaching staff, and they don't allow players at the NFL level to find success because they don't give them the structure. That's why. There's my take on that. Now let's look at, what do I look at in a quarterback? I look at experience. I want them to have a lot of playing experience at the college level. All right. When they don't have too many starts, I don't think that they have enough experience to kind of transition well into the NFL. So I like them to have good experience, a lot of starts at the college level. I look at their accuracy and their ball placement. If they have accuracy, that already is going to help them coming in the NFL. If they have great ball placement, for example, if on a lot of the short intermediate routes, especially those in routes, you got to be able to have good ball placement to allow that receiver to run through the catch and get those yards after catch. So I look at accuracy and ball placement. I look at pocket presence and mobility. You don't need to be a runner, but I need you to be able to manage yourself inside the pocket, extend plays, buy time, and help your O-line out, help your receivers out. That's what I look for. How do they handle pressure? Okay, how do they handle pressure? How do they handle the rush coming at them? That's one thing I look at. How do they handle high pressure situations, 4th and 1s, at the end of the game-winning drives? How do they handle themselves? Do they have the composure? They may not win every game-winning drive. They may not score in every game-winning drive. They may not get every 4th and 3 that they need to capitalize on. But how do they handle themselves in that moment? And then, are they a leader? Are they well respected amongst their peers, amongst their teammates, amongst their coaches? Okay, so those are some of the things that I look at. Now, let's take a look at the two top quarterbacks that are or the quarterbacks that are being tied to us. One, Jayden Daniels. If Jayden Daniels falls to maybe the 3rd or 4th pick, I'd like to see us take a shot, okay? Not because I think Jayden Daniels is going to be the next best thing. I think he has a lot of great things on his side. I think he can be a really good quarterback in the NFL. He's got his flaws. I'm not going to get deep into that, because the likelihood of us getting him is very slim. But I love the fact that he has the tie to Antonio Pierce. And if Antonio Pierce can get the best out of somebody, like he did Jack Jones, I like that situation. He also has a tie to Marvin Lewis, which is our assistant head coach. I think the makeup, his talent, and the structure within our organization, I do think um, is set up well for him. So I wouldn't mind it. Wouldn't be my first pick, but I wouldn't mind it because of what AP will bring to the table for him. Now, we also talk about Michael Penix. And one of the things that when you look at a quarterback, I don't just look at what they bring to the table in that moment. I look at how do they fit in the offensive system that we're bringing. And I broke down Luke Getzey's system. I watched 7 games of him last year. I did a whole video and breakdown on him. Go check that out if you want to. But what quarterback do I think is going to fit Luke Getzey's system the best? And one name that keeps getting pinned to us is Michael Penix, whether we get him at 13 or we trade up from the second round, because a lot of NFL analysts and experts don't have him going into the second round. So if we want him, we got to jump up into the first to possibly get him. Now, I don't think Michael Penix is going to be a good quarterback in the National Football League. That's my opinion. And I don't just base that off of a Michigan game or the injuries. The doctors cleared him. They're saying that his injuries are okay. So I'm not taking that into full consideration. What I'm taking that in is, one, how does he fit into Luke Getzey's system? I don't think he's right for Luke Getzey's system, and I'll explain why in a second. But I do think he has a lot of good traits. He's got an extremely strong arm. He is mobile, but he doesn't run. He's mobile, but he's not a run first type of quarterback, which I'd like. I think he can buy time in the pocket. He can essentially make every throw because he has such a strong arm. He can make every throw on that field, which is good. But can he make every throw with accuracy? And is he efficient in every throw? And I'll get into that in a second. I do think he has great pocket presence and he has great leadership. He's got nothing but praise coming out of college, which is great. He's got a lot of experience, right? He played, I think it's 6 years, right? 6 years in college. He's got a lot of experience. So he's got a lot of things going for him. And I'll tell you, if we do draft him in the second round, I won't be mad at it. I just will be cautiously optimistic. And here's why. One of the things that he's touted on and everybody talks about is he's got a great arm. He's a great deep ball thrower. No one is going to argue that. He's got a strong arm. He's got really good accuracy downfield. The problem that I have is a lot of his throws downfield were 50-50 balls. We aren't set up to have deep. We don't have a lot of deep threats on our team. Devonta Adams isn't that deep threat anymore. All right. Jacoby Myers is not a deep threat. The only deep threat that we have is Trey Tucker. Can we draft a deep threat? Yes, we can. But we're not going to draft that deep threat that's going to constantly win 50-50 balls. I don't see us being in a position to do that if we take a receiver possibly in the later rounds. And so he's not going to have that ability to just throw the ball up like he did to Rome Odunze and those type of receivers. He's not going to have that ability. So can he get out of that habit? All right. And a lot of those 50-50 balls they threw up actually were balls that he really shouldn't have thrown. All right. So it goes to my next point. Is he going to be able to, one of the knocks that are on him right now is he going to be able to get through his first, second, and third progression? Because in Washington, he didn't have to do that a lot. He didn't have to get to his first, second, and third progressions. And when he did get to his third progression, a lot of times he threw out of the proper throwing position. And I know that a lot of players can make those off field type of throws, right? Patrick Mahomes is great, but not every quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. The one knock that I have on him, and I saw this through all of his games, is he relies a lot on his arm to do a lot of work. And when you do that, you compromise your accuracy. And I saw that a lot when it came to the throws to the sideline, those pro-style throws that you need to make in the NFL, those deep out routes, those deep comebacks. When he tries to hit those and it's his second and third read, a lot of times he doesn't get his body in position to make that throw, and he uses his entire arm. It's just all arm to make that throw. And that's when he is inaccurate and he's late to the sideline. And in the NFL, when you are inaccurate and you are late, corners, safeties, even linebackers, they jump the ball quickly. And when you get yourself in that type of habit to where you think your arm can do all the work, you're going to find yourself in trouble in the NFL. And so I have a lot of issues with his mechanics. I'm not a fan of his mechanics. And so that's where my knock is. And I didn't just see it in the Michigan game or in the games he might have struggled. I saw it throughout the entire 7 games that I saw. that there were 3, 4, 5 throws that I kept seeing the same thing. And that's where I have my concern. So the quarterback that I would love to see us target, and again, I might get a bunch of ridicule on this, and that's fine. Go for it. Let's get in the comment section because I did my homework. I hope you did yours if you get in that comment section. But the quarterback that if we target one in the second round, I'm not saying first. If we get a right tackle, my favorite is Talisi Fuaga. If we get a right tackle in the first round and we decide to target a quarterback in the second round or possibly trade up a couple spots to jump in front of a team like the Broncos if they don't get a quarterback in the first round, I like Bo Nix. I like Bo Nix because of one, what he brings to the table, and two, I think he is a perfect fit for Luke Getsy's system. And there's a couple reasons why. One, I will go into just the pros, right? 45 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, 0 fumbles last year. And 2 out of those 3 interceptions weren't even his fault. One bounced off of his quarterback, the receiver's helmet, and it was a pick. And the third one was against Washington, where the defender actually went out of bounds, and then Bo Nix threw the ball. The defender came back into bounds to pick it off. So I don't even know if Bo Nix saw the guy. So essentially, 45 touchdowns to 1 interception, 0 fumbles, which means he protects the football. That is key, especially with us having a top 10 defense. He had over 140, I think about 470 attempts with 4,500 yards thrown with a 77% accuracy rating. Now, a lot of you guys might say, oh, he dumps off the ball a lot. I'll get to that. If you take away the drops, he actually had about an 84% completion rating if you take away the drops. So he's extremely accurate. He puts the ball where the receiver needs to get it. And he had, with those 470 attempts and throwing over 4,500 yards, he averaged almost 10 yards per completion. Almost 10 yards per completion. That's what he averaged. Almost a first down for every single completion. Now, that to me, because one of the knocks on him is he doesn't have a good deep ball, or he doesn't throw the ball deep. I'll get to that again. But because he lived in that mid-level range, right? Under 25 yards throws. Yes, he hit the flats quite a bit. He did hit that 15 to 25 yard throws. But in order to get to 4,500 yards, that means you have elite accuracy and you have elite ball placement. And that's what we need with Devonta Adams, with Jacoby Myers. You need elite ball placement when it comes to those receivers. Why? Because you want those receivers to catch the ball and continue their momentum through the catch to get those yards after catch. That's what Bo Nix does better than almost any quarterback in this draft. I'd say he does it the best in this draft. Is his ball placement and his accuracy is elite all over the field. It's not just to the sideline. It's not just in the flats. It's not just in the middle. His ball placement all over the field is absolutely elite. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at any film and you will see it. It's extremely impressive. And so the other thing is he is extremely mobile. He only took 5 sacks last year. And the thing is that he didn't have an elite offensive line. He had an elite center, which is going to be probably a first-round draft pick this year. But outside of that, he didn't have an elite line. And he only took 5 sacks, which means, again, he's mobile. He's got very good pocket presence. He can run if we need him to. He's going to extend plays. And again, because he minimizes the turnovers, he knows when to throw that ball away. That's one of the other things that I like to look for. Do you know when to just throw that ball away, put the ball in the dirt, and move on to the next play? He understands that because he's played for so long in the NFL. He's got, I think, the most starts of any college player in college football history. So he has the experience. And so let's go for, I think he fits Luke Getsy's system perfectly. Luke Getsy doesn't push the ball downfield a lot, which matches up with our receiver core. But he loves the short intermediate routes. He loves the mid-range ball, and Bo Nix throws it perfectly. He also loves his screens, and Bo Nix's ball placement on screens is extremely elite. He throws that ball to the downfield shoulder so that the receiver that catches it or the running back out of the backfield can carry his momentum downfield and get upfield quick. That's one of the worst things you can do on wide receiver screens is throw the ball on their back shoulder where they got to reach back, catch it, allows the defense to close on the receiver. And now, instead of a potential 10 to 15 yard gain, they're getting him at 3 yards. And so his ball placement is absolutely elite. And I think that's what Luke Getsy is going to look for, because he likes to hit those underneath mid-range balls. Now, some of the knocks that I see on him, everybody talks about, is he dumps off the ball. I don't think he dumps off the ball. He played within the system that he had. If you go back and look, there isn't a lot of times where the deep ball was open. He didn't take a lot of 50-50 shots because his receivers weren't good at the 50-50 balls. And so he took what the defense gave him, which was good, and he still had success. He threw for over 4,500 yards. If you throw for over 4,500 yards, that means the balls that you threw underneath were the right reads, because you continued to move the ball downfield. Now, if he didn't throw for too many yards and they didn't score a lot of points and he didn't throw for a lot of touchdowns, well, guess what? Then I would have some concern on you constantly dumping off the ball, because that means the ball, you weren't continuing the offense down the field. He did the exact opposite. He made the right read and the offense continued to travel down the field. Now, the other concerns is the deep ball. Again, yes, he had some inaccuracy on the deep ball. That is one of my knocks, okay? But he had to be more pinpointed for his accuracy, because his receivers were not good at the 50-50 balls. Michael Penix, he could just put the ball up there and lob it up there. He knew Rome Odunze was going to jump up and get it. He knew his receiver had the height and the athletic ability to win that 50-50 ball. Bo Nix didn't have that luxury, so he had to be more accurate and more pinpointed. And so, yes, his deep ball needs a little bit of work, and I'll take that. After everything else I've explained, I'll take the one knock of he just isn't as accurate on the deep ball. That's fine. Now, I do have some cons. Don't get me wrong. He's not perfect. I don't like quarterbacks that live in the shotgun. Sometimes that doesn't translate well to the NFL. And so he did go under center quite a bit when they got into the red zone. So he does have experience under center, but I don't like that he lived 95% in shotgun. That I think he's got to work on his footwork. He's got to understand how to take drops under center. But again, Luke Getsy's system played a lot out of the shotgun. He had Justin Fields that played out of the gun quite a bit. So it's not a huge concern, but I do put that in perspective. Another one is that, again, I go back to the deep ball, all right? It's not necessarily a concern for me about the deep ball. It's more of just a question mark. You know, how well is he going to be able to push that ball downfield? I think he'll do it perfectly fine. I think he'll be okay. Will he be pinpoint accuracy all the time? Maybe not. But I do think that he has the ability to go downfield. And if that's your one knock on him, is that he just didn't throw downfield a lot, the system didn't ask for it. Okay. The system didn't ask for it. He had one basically deep threat on that team. And they double covered him quite a bit. So that's my breakdown, guys. We're leading up to the draft. I want to get this film out there. All right. I'm not going to be mad. I do not want to see us trade up for Michael Penix. I do not want to see us get him in as the 13th pick in round 1. I do not want to see that. But if we ended up with Michael Penix, I wouldn't be extremely mad. I would have preferred somebody else. Let's put it that way. These two guys, between Bo Nix and Michael Penix, they are very, very similar. I just think Bo Nix has the better upside, and I also think he fits Luke Getsy's system just a little bit better. That's my take. So let me know in the comments down below, guys. I know it was a long video. I apologize, but I need to get this out here before the draft so I get you my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, turn those notifications. And again, if you are in the Vegas area, hit me up at Ahern. I'm going to be, let me know in the comment section down below if you're going to attend. Type draft day, so I know you're showing up, you're going to join, but I appreciate all you guys. I look forward to seeing you if you are in the Vegas area. If not, we're going to be going live. Log on, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Enjoy the draft. All right, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out.